Special guest on the
Very,
podcast
very
today.
special guest today. We've got the legendary Coach Sins over here.
I like that. Legendary.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm going to run with that as long as I can.
No one's arguing.
Legendary.
well,
to get legendary status, though, you've like worked with some legendary athletes, right?
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah. So, like, just rewinding all the way back,
Yeah.
like before you even got the chance to like work with any of these athletes,
Yeah.
like what got you into this space?
Yeah, so I'm originally from South Africa, very heavily sporting background in terms of my father.
Same town, right? Grew up in the same village.
Durban. I'm from Mississippi. He's
I'm from Chatsworth. We're a bit of a drive away, but we're same town.
Yeah.
Father heavily into sport. In my neighborhood, I lived in like a low socioeconomic group.
Yeah, right.
So you got to make it out of that place with academics or sport. But then if you intelligent, you need money to go to uni. We don't have, HEX?
Yes,
Like
right.
they here, or StudyLink in New Zealand. So it's like my sisters all got into uni, but they couldn't go because we didn't have money. So I'm like, damn it. So that's all good. My father, when I was born, took out a little bit of money, saved it every sort of month. When I finished school, he goes, you got to go to university, which was fine. And I was like, okay, I get the family out, no problem. But then I was heavy into my football and athletics. And then, 2000.
Like for yourself?
For myself, yeah. So I used to play high level in South Africa and then moved over to NZ 2001. 17 at the time. And then, played football there in the National League, etc. But then I'd had a full knee reconstruction at like 22.
Oh, grim.
Yeah. And then I had 3 more after that on the same leg.
Right.
You're kidding?
Yeah.
All knee?
All knee.
Oh my God.
ACL, MCL, shattered patella,
Oh.
the works.
So
Just
did
contact.
you know anything at that point about sort of strength and conditioning? Or were you just a reckless young kid just playing as hard and
think-
training as hard as I could?
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
It's where we all start,
Yeah.
right?
Exactly. So we didn't have the information we have now.
Yeah.
We didn't have social media where you could just go on your phone and get that stuff.
Yeah.
So I'd see what you'd see on a TV or magazine or newspaper article of what athletes are doing. I'm like, oh, I got to do that too.
Yeah.
With no real knowledge of why I'm doing it or if this is for me. Springboks, I'm seeing them in the paper doing that. Oh, I should do it. And I'm football and long distance running. Why am I doing that? But they pro athletes, so I'm doing it.
Yeah.
But I know that still happens today.
Oh, it does.
Yeah.
I think it's still the most rudimentary part of sports, and I'm involved in a lot of sports as well. And I see strength and conditioning. I think like this is like straight out of the 70s or the 80s.
Yep.
And it's common even at a high professional level.
Yep.
So like I get why you sort of threw yourself into this space. How do you go from being like an injured
Yeah.
sort of
Young
former
athlete,
athlete
yeah.
at such
Yeah.
a young age to then becoming a coach to some of the greatest teams and greatest athletes on the planet? Like, how does that evolution take
So
place?
once those injuries happened, I realized I'm not going to be good enough to compete with someone. Because I checked myself on the field and I'm like, well, I can't seem to compete with him anymore.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I have to hit the university route. And I was doing 2.5 years into physio degree because I wanted to be a physio.
Yep.
But then, early 2000s, that 2004, for me, physios were just in the clinic. They were not so heavily involved as they are now in sport.
Well, they're post.
Yeah,
injury,
only when
right?
something goes wrong.
Right. And then I'm sitting
pretty
there and I'm
negative
like,
sort of,
this is not for me.
Yeah.
I don't like to be contained.
Yes.
And sports science started catching light. And remember there was a show, ESPN, the sports science
I
show.
love that show.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
that thing got me hooked. I'm like,
Yeah.
I need to research if New Zealand does this.
Yeah.
And I found AUT who does the sports science at Auckland University.
Yeah.
I was like, flip, I'm coming out of physio and I'm going to apply for this. And I got into sports science and doing sports science. And then I slowly training teams, like local teams, while in my degree.
Yep.
I was like, look, these are under 19 teams. Let me show you what I can do based on my experience as an athlete. But I've already got 2.5 years of physio. I've got about 1.5 years into my sports science. I can see where things were going wrong from my experience. So I said, let me start with a low under 19.
Yep.
And I just approached them and then go, okay, you can take our under 19 team. And they saw the benefits of just like half an hour. They said, you can come to our team trainings. You take the first half an hour of the session on the field. You do what you think you need to do. And that's it. That made the world of difference for them. They top the table in the under 19 and they've always been a mid-team table.
Is that like... Yeah, you go.
What were you getting them to do in that half hour?
That was going to be
It-
my question.
Yeah.
Was it like mainly conditioning, like skill-based conditioning? or?
It was more So I figured out at early days from, of course, sports science, like, why are we not training the actions of the sport? And by the actions, I mean the muscles that create these actions, or repeated actions of a sport. We're changing direction, we're decelerating, we're sprinting. So I'm like, hold on, let me introduce this to the teams, and we'll go, if we do half an hour twice a week on speed work, which is what we need, change in direction, and with change in direction comes acceleration, deceleration, shifting sort of your mass.
Yeah. So a lot of speed and agility
Yeah.
applied
Right.
to that particular sport.
And
Right.
a lot
Yep.
of people, they think strength and conditioning is just going and doing a bench press like while
Exactly.
you're
I
while
know,
you're and running.
That's
you know?
the old school mentality, right?
Yeah.
We get in the gym, we do all those traditional lifts. There's our strength and,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
conditioning done. But
It's just
no,
not
Yeah.
functional.
A soccer
That's
player,
all.
soccer
That's what I
player
was
training as a
referring to.
bodybuilder.
Yeah, exactly. And then I'm like, we don't actually, yes, we get those change in directions, but we get the realism in the football training of it happening unexpectedly. But how do we train it in the manner that will sort of periodize in the gym? How can we periodize this change in direction? And I just caught on straight away.
Yeah.
It's like, man, we need to be doing this. And then 2014, there was a sports science conference in New Zealand, and Lauren Lando, who is like one of the greats in SNC. In the States, he was the head trainer of Denver Broncos. He's now, I think, director of football at Notre Dame University. He came over, and I saw him do stuff in sprinting, and I'm like, that's exactly how I'm seeing it. And he's already got 20 years on me. So we connected. And at that time, 2014, I started training Israel Adesanya, who wasn't in the UFC. He was in the kickboxing scene.
yeah, massive in the kickboxing scene.
Massive. Yeah.
Super successful, one of the greatest ever.
Like 100 fights or something.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Kickboxing.
but didn't gain recognition until
No.
sort of became the
UFC.
UFC legend he is today.
And I know I'm jumping now from the football to the sort of fighting, but no one in the fight scene was doing structured S&C.
Oh, it's actually even further behind than other sports. Yeah.
So they were just literally copying.
They're serial overtrainers.
Oh,
In
They are the worst. Yes. to this day. They are the worst trainers of, because you've got so many disciplines to try and focus on, they feel
Yeah.
they have to try and tick the box on everything.
yes.
So, yeah, we started doing that. And then people started seeing Izzy in the gym. And he was just winning, knocking out, going up, stepping up into heavyweight, king in the ring,
Yep.
knocking out guys. He turned up to fights at 84 kgs, fighting guys at 100 kgs.
Yeah.
Wow.
So he used to turn up to weigh-ins.
He's a big
with-
guy.
Yeah,
Real big guy.
Dunkin' Donuts
Yep.
and standing in weigh-ins because he's so underweight. But we looked, I go,
So your first high-profile athlete
yeah,
was Israel Adesanya.
yeah.
That is like that's a story in itself.
Yeah.
That's just like.
And the thing is,
is that like just being right spot at the right time? Like how do you set up
we knew
that?
each other.
Right.
So I'll put it back about a year. In my last year of my sports science degree,
Yeah.
I said I need to open up a gym that's performance style.
Yeah.
Because there was commercial gyms.
Yeah.
And then you've got your New Zealand high performance sport, which is like AIS.
Yeah.
And I'm like, if you are not a carded athlete, you're not getting this training. And there's a lot of people being missed out in the country, and I'm sure it's here as well. If you're not carded because of some nonsense system they have, we are missing good athletes.
Oh, 100%.
So I'm like, you know what? I need to open up
your
a gym.
own. Yep.
So with two friends, I'm like, let's open a gym. So the whole year of our third year, which is the biggest year, we're busy planning a gym while trying to finish a degree.
Right.
Got everything sorted.
While still training some athletes at the same
Exactly.
time. Yeah.
And then I'm like, okay, cool. Everything happened. 2013, January, I opened the gym on the North Shore in Auckland. And then everyone was like, whoa, what is the setup of a gym? And there's literally, I had 6 squat racks.
Yeah.
I had 6 deadlift platforms.
Yeah.
I had 4 bench presses, just free benches and fruits, no machines,
Yep.
and just open turf space.
Yeah.
Yes.
It was
And-
quite a unique looking gym because I did a powerlifting comp there.
and
You
a
remember?
comp there, yeah.
And for your average person walking into a place like that, it's like, "Well, they got nothing here for
Yeah.
me.
No,
but
100%.
as an athlete, you walk in, you go, oh my God, this is the perfect space
like
for an
plenty-
athlete,
plenty
right?
Sleds and whatnot.
Oh, sleds. I
Yeah.
even had like
Just
a
a-
massive net
Yeah.
on the roof that I dropped down for shot putters.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because I used to train shot putters as well. So I'm like, okay, I need something that we could train indoors, but then I could utilize this net for a lot of athletes. You know, and I used the shot put on Izzy for his sort of the rotational power.
Of course, yeah.
Similar to punching. motion,
Right,
yeah.
because if you think about this, the slingshot effect of javelin, etc., where you plant and push, that's
Same
what
as
I'm trying
punching,
to create.
yeah.
And I work in a very weird way. Like I said this before somewhere else, is when someone's doing a movement, I'm literally looking at a skeleton move.
So you're really interested in the biomechanics of
Biomechanics
athletes.
is
Yeah.
my bread and butter.
Yeah, I can
I've spent
tell
so
already.
many, like I've spent 3 years in the biomechanics lab in high performance sport because one of our lecturers was the manager there. So I spent 3 years under him just working on the 3D cameras, understanding movements. And
How
I
do
did
you
this-
even watch sport as a fan anymore? Like you'll just be sitting there just monitoring and assessing everyone's biomechanics
Yeah.
and patterns.
100%. I was with my partner the other day driving, and there was this whole bunch of people running, and this girl was running past, and I go, "Man, her glute medius is so tight." And she goes, "What do you mean?" I go, "Look at her left leg, how much whoop. She can't even rotate because it's pulled completely the other way." And she goes, "What are you talking about?" And I was like,
Yeah.
"Oh, don't mind. Just ignore me."
The score's 8-0. That's all I know.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so that's the thing. So at uni, whenever there's an opportunity to jump in on research, I put my hand up.
Yeah.
I was like, I just want to get experience and understand from these other guys.
Yep.
So I always put my hand up. I turned up at 2 a.m. They used to do research because they wanted to mimic time, etc.
Yep.
And my boys were clubbing, and I'm like, okay, I'll drop you all off at clubbing. I'm still in my clubbing clothes, and I drive straight to the lab. And the lecturers used to die laughing at me. I go, yeah, I was on my way out, and I got the tick, so I'm coming in. so that was me. Like, I knew if I committed then,
Yeah.
it'll make all the sense later on. So Izzy and I knew each other through my mutual friend of football. They knew each other.
Right.
And Izzy used to come watch us play football, and that's where we met, like 2012, 2013.
Yes.
And they had a guy doing some SNC kettlebell work in the gym. It's not a full setup. And they left, and he goes, messaged me, he goes, "Hey, I think we could train together," because he knew I opened to the gym. I just have to speak to Eugene and find out, because Eugene and them are like, well, who is this guy? Is he just some random doing some stuff in a gym, or does he know what he's talking?
Yeah.
And then Izzy explained, and then he goes, oh, Eugene gave you the thumbs up, I can train with you. And we used to watch UFC together.
Yeah.
And we watched the Anderson Silva fight, and he goes, man, I'll fight him one day.
Yeah.
And I ended up coming to the fight where he fought him in Melbourne.
Yeah, we were all there.
Yeah.
So I ended up there. So that was a full circle moment. Yeah, so he turned up. Everybody saw Izzy training. Next thing, more fighters started coming.
So that's when things blew up for you,
kicked
of
off.
course.
Yep.
So you now work with some of the other guys at City Kickboxing, Kai Kara France,
Kai Kara
another
France.
one.
When Carlos was in King of the Ring, I worked
Yeah.
with him. Shane Young when he was in UFC.
Yep.
Blood Diamond boxers I still work with. So
Yep.
all the Olympic level boxers and pro boxers. So quite a few in that sort of combat discipline.
Yep.
And then, kind of coming back full circle. Now you're back to football, like which is pretty cool, right?
Yeah,
Like-
so the funny thing is in 2014, I applied for the All Whites job, the SNC head sports scientist, and I didn't get it. And so I was like, that's okay. But I was already training half of the team.
Yep.
So I was like, well, that didn't make sense.
No.
Now, I mean, I could have
So were you training them as individuals? or-
individuals.
Yeah,
They reached
yeah.
out to me because, again, like 2014, mid 2014, towards the end as well, Tom Abercrombie from the Breakers and Tall Blacks came to me. And then from there, people started saying, like, who is this guy that everyone is randomly going to? Like, what is going on? And a funny story, one of the pro boxers, Hemi Ahio, he's a heavyweight. When we met many years ago, first thing he said was, whoa. I was like, what? He goes, and that's not how somebody sort of interacts with you first time they meet you. I go, what do you mean? He goes, well, the way everyone talks about you, I thought you're going to be at least over 6 foot. I was like, well, you keep that up, I'll hit you like I'm 8 foot. So that was it. But the thing is, if we're going back to what you said, is my principles were very much things that were done from the 70s. So I took the old school because I know it worked. Some of the records are still not broken.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, why are we going to change what's sort of working? But I understand the new science. How can I incorporate it or be agile enough to see what's going to benefit by taking maybe one step and applying it? Okay, let's merge. So I was playing a lot, and I was fortunate enough to have all these guys for 8-9 years. They were my subjects. So I was trying and twisting protocols. And I always say,
And you're doing this on high-level professional athletes.
Yep.
I mean, if you're going to test it anywhere, that's probably the best people to test it with, because the response that you're going to get is going to be a lot quicker than just your everyday person, right?
100%. And then the room for flaw is minimized with these guys because
Yeah.
they're so highly trained.
Yes.
All right. So
And they adapt to techniques and things so much
Right.
quicker than just your
That's the
everyday
thing. So
person.
I'm like, okay, what if I take this protocol? And this is where I say for SNCs out there or sports scientists, if research comes out, just please don't copy and paste it.
Hmm.
Like, science is not meant to be those straight line brackets. Use those ones, they flex.
Yes.
Yeah.
So they can go a little bit either way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, so a lot of people try and copy and paste and go, this protocol is not working. But what if your guy is the outlier? And you might only have to change one step
Yes.
off the 6-step protocol. And he'd get the most amazing results. But you have to be willing to take that time to do that.
I think that is a lot of the problem, and that crosses over into the nutrition, the
Yeah.
supplement world as well. You know, you see one scientific study come out,
Mm-hmm.
suddenly that's the new craze. Everyone's really black and white about it, and we all have to do that
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
And it's just like everything we've ever learnt and everything that's ever been applied is just thrown out the window.
Yeah.
This is the new way to do it. I really like that approach of sort of integrating old and new,
New.
and adapting the new as it comes in and seeing if it works.
Yeah,
Yeah.
everything
And everyone's
is
going to
cyclical.
respond differently, right? Like,
Oh, big time. Everything is cyclical.
Yeah.
I mean, fashion
I know.
is coming back.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? So everything goes and comes
Darren
back.
wears his flared pants to work most days, so yeah, it's,
Yeah, I was expecting the bell bottoms and the paisley shirt.
Yeah, exactly. It's coming back soon.
how do you go about, like, because you work with individuals and teams?
Yes.
How do you go? Like, for me, a team seems really daunting as an S&C coach,
Yeah.
because as an individual, I get it, right? You're looking at their biomechanics, you're looking at their strengths and weaknesses, you can
Yes.
adapt it to that individual. But when you've got 20 to 30, 40, maybe even in a squad of individuals,
Yes.
but you're sort of working with them as a team, like, how do you drill down to those individuals and give them that individuality that they need?
So generally, if I take a team, and if the team has a physio, I'll sit down with the physio and I'll go, right, tell me everything you know about reoccurring injuries with each person,
So is that where you start? So
Yes.
from an injury perspective?
injury
Yep.
point, or who's on the table the most.
Yes.
The ones on the table the most, I
Yeah.
need to know why, and let's try and figure it out. And then from there, I'll create warm-ups that are sort of movement screening. So I've modified every movement screen that's out there. So I'd create a warm-up, and I'd just make a note of as I see people go through it. He's having trouble getting over that hurdle. Probably there's balance issues on the left. So I'll have my base program of, look, we all need to get strong. You can never not benefit from being strong.
Oh, yeah. Everyone needs to be strong.
Everyone
Yep.
needs to be strong. So I know we need to be strong. But let's look at what's limiting your movements to get you strong in certain angles. So then I'd look, okay, if someone's really struggling with a technique, then I'll go and speak to them and I'll adjust things on the fly. So I might have like a rugby league team of 30, and I might have 5 or 6 that I have to just customize a movement for them.
Right.
So
So
it
they're the
takes-
ones that are on the table the most. You're customizing those first. The
Right.
rest that seem okay, it's okay to sort of,
Yes,
not a blanket approach,
No.
but a
Right.
little bit more as a team.
exactly. So
Yeah.
we'll do that first as our foundation.
Yes,
I
right.
like to work on our foundation. My foundation is always let's get as strong as possible. And I said it I think in another podcast, like with the fighters, when they out of a fight and the start of the camp before that, I train them like powerlifters.
Yeah, right.
Like get as strong as you can, so your threshold is now here, because you know we're not going to be able to do that in camp. We can just maintain. So at least your drop off is here versus here. So that's my thing, is I'll get everyone as strong as I can.
Yep.
And then from there we start getting specific to position.
Yes,
You know,
right.
position specific strength.
Yep.
Especially rugby, union and league.
Mm-hmm.
Your forward packs, etc. They have to be strong in certain positions.
Mm-hmm.
So that's when it becomes individual. You got your base strength,
Yep.
individual strength, and position specific requirements. So it takes a little bit of time.
Yeah, a lot of
So
time.
yeah, so I'll have like trainers under me that will watch over the base program, but I'll be standing back and making all my biomechanic notes
Right.
of what I think. And then we go into specific, and I'm like, okay, yep, that ticks it off. Oh, I missed that one. Let me adjust that, and then I'll just be I'm very personable.
Yes.
I like to address you and speak to you as a human, and I need us to connect as on a human level.
Yeah.
Because when I do that, then there's no doors. You'll tell me exactly what's going on, because there's no fear of, if I tell you, you're going to tell the physio, you guys are going to tell the coach, I won't play.
Yeah, I hear that a lot.
So I'm going in a point where, like, you can trust me. It will not go to the physio unless I think it is, but we'll try and get you right so that you can be selected, not selected. I want you to last a season, not one game, out for 2.
Yes.
So I like to get on that level where, trust me, I got your back. That's
Yeah.
why I'm here.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's how I work with the team.
Yeah, Look, there's a lot that goes into it, and I think a lot of it comes into sort of planning, and from what I'm hearing from you, a lot of it's got to do with just passion, mate. It sounds like you live and breathe this shit, like, and I think you have to, like, the life of a strength and conditioning coach, to be a really good one like yourself, you have to live and breathe it, and you got it's got to be enjoyable and not feel like a
Yeah.
job.
100%.
How do you see us getting around the fact that, you know, there's still high level or S&C coaches out there for professional teams and individuals that are still employing these old school techniques? How do we gear everyone up to raise everyone up? I've noticed with you already, like, you're very open-minded to new information and trying things. That's probably the first step. Is a lot of them are very closed-minded because that's the way they did it, and the team might be getting good results already, so they go, "Oh, I don't really want to mix it up. I'm worried." So,
My thing is to trainers out there, and whether you're in a pro team, because I know there'll be a lot in a pro team that sometimes I don't agree, and they're not going to agree with my stuff, and that's okay. But my thing is, take some new information, try it for 4 weeks. Of course, not in a season. Your best time to do things, and what I do is I try it off season. If I'm doing, whether it's an individual plan for someone from the team, I'm like, well, you know what? This is the off season. Let me try it, and let me get feedback from the athlete or athletes that are under that new protocol that I'm sort of merging. If they're getting great responses, man, something's right.
Yeah.
If they're not getting great responses, let me go back and look at why. Don't shoot down the protocol straight away. But when you're reading new science, it's not it's not gospel.
yes.
It's not the be all end all.
No.
It's just someone that thought of something. Like, you need to think of something
Yep.
Yeah.
and go figure it out.
I love that
Yeah,
approach.
it's
to
just
to
more
science,
data
yeah.
points, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
And, going back on data, I love data, but I don't collect some data half the time. This is the biggest piece of equipment. If I could insure this, put a big insurance sum on these eyes,
Yeah.
that's the best thing. Too many S&C sports scientists. I've got
Fixated on
blinkers.
numbers.
Right, blinkers.
Yep.
Yeah.
You, like, going back, you have to understand the human. You understand the human, you understand the athlete. You understand the athlete, you understand the numbers even better. Because the numbers are telling you everything you need to know, because you know which human it is.
Yeah.
What drives them. Now, if I want better numbers, if I don't know the human, I don't know how to get the best out of you.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So my thing is, collect the data, but only collect big rocks. Things that are going to directly influence your goal. Sort of primary sort of collection and secondary collection.
What are some of those big rocks that?
So I only collect strength,
Yeah.
right? Strength and power, speed.
Strength, power, speed.
Speed.
Yep.
I think that's the recipe of every athlete.
Yeah.
And then because things come out and there's stuff about fascia and all of this, the problem I have with new things coming out is not the new sort of protocol. I don't have a problem with it. It's people taking it and disregarding what they've been doing.
Yeah.
Going, how can I merge this? Okay, let's try it once a week and incorporate it into our set plan.
And give it some time.
Don't
to
abandon what
play
you've been
out as
doing
well.
Right.
with success for
Like,
something
if
shiny and new.
something
Yeah.
comes up, or new science comes up in the nutrition world, scrap all of this.
Yeah.
Let's just go there. But then you've got that 80% of the population that go, man, this has been working for me, and now you just disregarded it.
Yeah.
You're not just disregarded it, you disregarded us.
Yeah.
So that's how I approach everything, how I see things is like, hey, collect what you need to collect. You can't turn over every stone.
Yeah.
There's sort of an evolving, the stone's always evolving.
Yeah.
If you're going to keep turning, you're going to get more and more. It's not always good.
No, the wheels will just be
Get,
constantly spinning.
Yeah.
You're just not really
Analysis
getting anywhere.
paralysis. you know,
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's what I said in one of my posts is like, there's too many people over analyzing and then you get stuck. You know, just collect what you need to. Keep it simple and basic. And simple and basic doesn't mean easy.
No.
Yeah.
So I tell people when you come, I go, my training is simple, my training is basic. If you get bored, go to a mall, go to the movies if you want excitement. You come to me not for excitement.
No.
I'm there to help you get the best performance and last as long as you can in your sport.
Yeah.
I don't give a damn about your 1 year. I'm going, how can we make it 5 years and be at the best for 5 years?
Yeah.
So that's, simple and basic works, and it's not easy. It's hard.
Yeah. Oh, I know. Well, like changing sort of direction here, like when it comes to periodization, we talk about a lot about off season, pre-season, during season.
Yeah.
What sort of, like, just for your everyday athletes, Greg that's playing second grade soccer, I don't know why I chose the name Greg, but, like what should he, I know it's going to be different by sport, but if there is some sort of like big rocks that we go, okay, off season, all team athletes or individual athletes should focus on this, pre-season this, and during season this. How would you break that down for the everyday person?
Athlete. So if we take Greg from football,
Yeah, Greg.
he's playing.
Future,
How are you,
He's a
Greg?
good player. He's the season's top scorer.
Great
Yeah.
bloody player. Yeah. So season's finished.
Yep.
Okay, and I'm gonna go back to my foundation. Our first phase is let's get strong. Okay, we're gonna look at your strength, and we'll start working on your low-level fitness, your aerobic. Really low, steady, but it's not our focus.
Yes.
So we might tap into it twice a week.
Yeah.
Is that like zone 2 kind of stuff?
Yeah, just really going
Just to
out.
keep that base there and
Right.
not eliminate it completely.
Nah, because
Yep.
I don't want it to take away from my strength work.
Yes.
Because I want to work purely on strength, and I go, I'm going to treat you like a powerlifter. For 4 weeks, let's train like a powerlifter. I want to strengthen my hammies, my quads, my adductors, the groin muscles, because I'm strengthening the things that are the common or repeated injury points. Hamstrings, adductors, hip flexors, and calves.
It's so crazy that like athletes ignore adductors, abductors, hip flexors,
Yeah.
Muscles.
Yeah, all the small muscles. But
Just because you can't really, see
I
them
know,
as
but
much.
unless you're just running in straight lines, the whole, like they are so important.
And the thing is, because we're used to putting a bar on our back or bench pressing, you're like,
Yeah.
I feel that work.
It's in a
Well,
singular plane, everything.
Exactly. And then you're like, what do you mean I need to attach a cable and swing my leg across me and do this adductions? Surely that's just for like fitness models. And
They look so funky as well. All the most functional, some of those beneficial exercises, you get the worst looks at the gym for doing that stuff.
100%. And so I had some of my athletes go, Sons, you taking the piss out of me. Is this for your own enjoyment? I'm like, no, I'm training the muscle based on its origin and insertion and the way it contracts.
Yep.
And in this sort of plane is where it contracts. So if we go back to Greg, you need to get strong.
Yep.
Greg needs to get strong while just maintaining a low-level cardio base. We've got 4 weeks. And then we start going, and that's bilateral work. Your squats, your leg press, double leg press. I'm going to throw bench press because I let the boys have fun on the upper
Yeah,
body.
you
Everyone
gotta
wants
keep the
biceps
bench in
and-
there.
I'm like, keep them happy.
Yeah. Gotta
it's
feed
not-
the ego occasionally, right?
And that's our secondary work. Like,
Yeah.
look, on a Friday we'll hit buys and tries. I know it's got nothing to do for you, but you want to feel good. But so we do that, and then we start moving into more specific unilateral work into our second phase.
Yep.
We'll maintain our sort of compound lifts, and our focus goes into single leg work.
Unilateral work is so underrated
Yeah.
for everyday athletes, I
Yeah.
think. Everyone, you're doing a leg press, you're doing squats,
Yeah.
you're doing like everything. And you'll find over time people develop really big muscular imbalances. That's why I love unilateral work. I think
It's
great.
like
incorporating a bit of both.
Yeah,
into sections,
100%. And that's where we switch our focus from all that barbell work to then all the dumbbell or single leg, single arm work.
Yep.
And then we bring them together into a contrast session, sort of going from a squat to a massive box jump, trying to create that sort of explosiveness. But now once we've gone from that first 4 weeks and transitioned into our unilateral, we start increasing our running, and not so much shuttle running for Greg, but more full field. Now we increase the intensity. out, 70% efforts.
Okay.
Okay, so he's not jogging, he's not sprinting, but he's running hard.
Yep.
He's going full field, out and back. We're sort of going for a 1-to-2 ratio. So it takes him, 1 minute, so rest 2 minutes, go. And then we'll slowly start switching that, 1-to-1 as we start getting closer to the season.
Yes.
So now we're about 6 weeks out of the season. We've come into that February phase. December, January, we played with our strength, bilateral, unilateral, and maintained our aerobic light jog. Now we're doing our half field shuttles, our 10-meter out and back, our little curved runs. We're doing things with like really high intensity and mimic what happens on the football field to get that stimulation. But then we take that unilateral work and we start training it in that sort of fashion I said in the start of this, where we looked at speed work, we looked at how we decelerate, how we change in direction. So as we get closer to a season, our training should match sort of what's going to happen in the game. Now, when I say that, I'm not saying go do those actions in the gym because you look like a real fool. What I'm saying is your conditioning side needs to match the
Yes.
conditioning of the field.
Yep.
Repeated sprint efforts versus I'm going for a 10K run. Your 3 times a week 10K run now needs to switch to field sort of style, tempo running, straight line speed, resisted sprints, change in direction sprints. Your weight work now needs to be once a week we need to have our strength work to maintain. Once a week you need to have power work, hang cleans, box jumps, broad jumps, sled push, sprinting. All right, and then one day we need to have like what I call a prehab and accessory work, taking care of all these small muscles. So 3 times a week I'm in the gym doing a strength, power, and accessory work. On the field, I'm doing my field-specific fitness.
Okay. Right. It's a lot. For Greg's now a hell of a lot busier.
Yeah, he is busy.
How long are these sessions lasting? Like, let's look at an on-field conditioning and agility style, sport-specific session. Like how long?
40 minutes?
Right.
40 minutes.
And half of that might be resting.
Resting, there's like I say, 40 minutes, 50-minute session, you got 20 minutes of work, 25, because anytime...
But it's hard. But
yeah,
yes.
it's hard,
Yeah.
because anytime you're doing hard efforts, your rest is long.
Yeah.
Because you want full sort of recovery before you go again. Because then if you're doing stuff while you're fatigued, quality is out the window and you start training bad habits.
Yeah.
So that's the thing. And like we say, so Greg is our Division 2 player. Greg will be treated accordingly. So I gave him a lot, I mentioned a lot of work, but we have to build up to that tolerance. So we can't just go, yeah, you go, Greg, now you're training 6 times a week versus your 2 times a week last year.
Yeah.
We'll build him up.
Right.
2.5, 3. And when I say 2.5 is I'm saying we've got 2 big sessions, but we've got a 0.5 where it's just a half an hour sort of drilling session.
Right.
So we start building tolerance in tendons, ligaments, muscles. How is he going to handle this? So we very like a stepwise progression to right now you're capable of doing 3 gym sessions plus 3 conditioning sessions. It won't be off the bat.
Yeah. So we've built him up to it. So we've got through sort of pre-season, during season.
Yep.
I always get this question so much, and people are almost still scared to lift weights during season because, I don't want it to affect my weekend performance at the game.
Yeah.
What stage of the week would you still incorporate some strength stuff, and what are we talking about as far as strength? And how many sessions per week? I know there's 3 questions there, I guess.
So the thing is funny is you say that because when I was working with Quade Cooper, and I was like, man, you need to lift in the season. I was like, you can lift heavy. And he was like, yeah, okay. Well, let's see how this goes. And we did our whole preseason, off-season, and went into the in-season, and he was lifting. And so when I say lifting, let's just say, so he was doing a 180 back squat, right?
Light, yeah.
Very light.
No, I'm kidding.
Quite as light. I'll let them know about the 200.
That is ridiculously heavy for anyone.
And then in season, we do maybe 140 to 160. So still that 70, 80%,
Yeah.
but our reps are down to 2 to 3.
So you're lowering volume.
Right. We drop volume, we sort of hit that 80% intensity. So as long as we can stimulate the CNS, our central nervous system, and create those same sort of feedback responses, we find we're not going to fatigue you too much from a 3 sets of 5 at 85% or 5 sets of 3. Nah, we go there 3 sets of 2 or 2 sets of 3 heavy, and we go into a lot of contrast training.
Yeah.
You know, so we stimulate you just enough to maintain, and then if you play on the weekend or Saturday, you know, generally Tuesday you're back on it. Yeah, it depends how much damage you've taken.
Yep.
And football, so if you play Saturday, Sunday is recovery, Monday is off, Tuesday you're back. But then it comes down to how many minutes you played.
Yeah.
Then when you're looking, you know, if you're a low level athlete or if you're a club that does not have, you know, GPS that's going to give you data, you generally go, well, I played 50 minutes and I didn't get too much sort of damage, or there's not too much of contact. I'm fine. Versus I played 95 minutes or I played 80 minutes in a rugby game and I took damage, then you adjust accordingly.
Yeah.
So you know, like I say, you don't just take it, oh, the plan is there, I've got to follow it. You have to be smart.
Yeah.
If
So
you-
it's a once a week sort of thing in season.
once a week.
So
and
you're
then-
obviously having to cover sort of full body in that session.
Yeah,
Yep.
I'd sometimes split it.
Yep.
I
And what are we
split it.
talking mainly? Is sort of just compound movements.
Yeah, compound back
Yep.
squats, deadlifts. We'd go trap bar deadlift.
Yep.
More, it's a bit safer in
Yes.
season.
Yep.
And I could move a lot more weight again, safer. And yeah, split squat. I'd go heavy, barbell on the back, so that I can navigate. And what I do is, especially squats, I don't need them to go deep. So a lot of people used to see our depths and be like, no rep, no rep.
Oh, that's the typical social media.
Yeah. And I'm like, okay, cool.
They're not
But
This
in a
guy has to
powerlifting
play.
competition.
When
This
I-
guy has to
yeah.
play in 3 days. So
yeah, when are
What
you
are we
going to
trying to
be
do
at
here?
that angle in the game?
yeah.
When are you going to be at that depth, your muscle? I can train that length of the muscle in another movement away from a back
You
squat
get that stretch
to get
somewhere
that,
else.
but it's safer and I'll have you feeling better for your field session later on in the day.
Yep.
So it's trying to explain to people like, hey, we can still train things. There's many ways that you can do it. It's just look at risk versus reward.
100%. You know, you're going super deep on a back squat. He's got a sore lower back on the weekend.
Weekend.
We could have got that stretch through a single leg
Yes.
lunge or a split
Exactly.
squat or a
100%. So
Yeah.
that's where I go and I go like, well, we'll tap your compound lifts today. We'll tap some later on. So I try and split it so it's not a heavy day in one day. So I'd split some of the upper and lower, but I'll split it based on what the field sessions are like.
Yeah.
If I know it's heavy upper body contact, then I know that day I can't do a lot of the upper ones. I'd move it.
Yep.
If I know it's a lot of technical and coaching work, I can do a heavy leg session because there's going to be a lot of breaks by the coaches. They'll be doing tactical work. So I play with what the code sort of training looks like,
yes.
and we adjust based on that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think you
What-
could apply these principles to almost any sport.
Oh, you can, definitely.
100%. Every sport you can apply it
Yeah.
in the same manner. And like, I think yesterday I put up a post of where I was talking about managing training load.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, and the worst people are combat sport. Like they overtrain a lot. And I'm like,
Oh, they're
well,
twice a day, every day.
3
some
times
3
a day.
times a
Yeah.
day. Yeah.
And it's like, well, just simplest things, not putting you out of pocket, just RPE your session. You know, end of the day, average it out.
Yeah.
Have a look at what your RPE was doing for the week, and then make notes of why you were so spent. Well, you had conditioning on Thursday, you came and did power with me, and then you went and did wrestling, which is the hardest session ever, all 3 on one day, and then you've got a day in between and sparring on Saturday, which is about 2 hours. You're not going to be recovered then.
Yeah.
You need to split things. So
Yes.
simple things is rating your trainings and having a look at what your week looks like. Just tells you about what your body is doing, why it's doing. And I go, rate your sleep. Your sleep is based on what happened in your training day. I got stimulated, but this training is so stimulating.
Yeah.
Maybe I need to move it further away so I can have a better sleep for my sparring, competition sparring.
Yeah.
Yep.
So it's little tips like that is paying attention to what I couldn't sleep. Oh, we had like King of the Wall. That's how stimulating you want to be the king of the wall. You can't sleep. You play at night. Most athletes struggle to sleep. You train at night. Most people struggle to sleep.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
it's
how-
paying attention.
Yeah. And that's why I think, wearables are becoming a lot more popular
Yeah.
with athletes now.
You
Yeah.
always
Yeah.
have to bring this up, don't you?
Yeah.
He loves his-
I love,
His whoop.
I love the whoop. Yeah. Well, it just helps you keep track of, how intense your training is, how good your sleep is. Like, you don't need to pay too much attention to it, but
No, and that's the key.
yeah.
it's a good
It's a guide.
indicator. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
a good guide.
Yeah.
Don't pay too much attention, but it's interesting to see.
Yeah.
And when you adjust things on your own, you're like, oh, it actually did change.
Yeah.
So,
What
yes.
about your average coach, right? And let's just say, it's a dad coaching a 16-year-old rugby league team. He gets
Is that you?
No. Well, there's a lot of us out there, right? Or any coach, basketball coach. You've got that team twice a week for an hour each session. You've got the responsibility of making them fitter, making sure, they're prepared and don't get injured, learning the skills of the game, improving their strength, their speed work. Like, how do you? I know that's impossible,
Yeah.
right? To do it to the highest degree, but how would you structure that for
So,
just your everyday
if I'm a
coach twice a week?
Yeah, coaching a under 16 rugby team on the field.
Yeah,
Like I said, I only got an hour 2 times a week.
yeah,
All right, so I'm gonna go break it down and go right. First 20 minutes we'll do pure like work on technique, running, sprinting, training, and then when we go into football, and when I say football, I'm talking about all the codes.
Yeah.
Right. We're gonna do the sport, but I'm gonna manipulate the dimensions of the fields we play. So small-sided games,
So you're tricking them into doing some conditioning.
conditioning,
Right.
and then what I do is anytime
Tricking.
I reduce
Yeah.
the dimensions, not only are we training like sort of physically, cognitive, because the smaller the dimensions, the ball travels quicker.
Oh, yeah,
the
you gotta
ball
be
traveling
a lot
quicker
more
means you have to
focused.
think quicker of what's second phase, what's third phase. When you got a full field, you've got all the time in the world to decide what I'm going to do next when the ball gets to you. But when you small or shorten the dimensions, manipulate it, you're now training cognitive because you're having players think about second and third phase before first phase is even executed. So if I play, a quick touch game or small-sided football game, and if I go, right, we're just going to use the 18-yard box and another 18-yard box, I'm going to go 7v7 as fast as you can, and it's like murder ball, balls out, next ball's in, and give coaching sort of cues. To score, your whole team has to be above this line. And the new ball gets played, your whole team has to be down. So you bring about these conditioning principles while still keeping them engaged because it's the sport. I'm getting them to play football, or I'm getting them to play touch,
Yeah.
getting them to play rugby, but I'm manipulating space, which brings about physiological changes.
Yeah. So you're combining skill work with sort of conditioning. like-
Yes,
Yeah.
because the more touches on the ball at that age they get, the better they're going to get.
Yeah.
So you need them to have touches on the ball.
Yeah.
Sounds fun too.
That's why
Yeah.
the South Americans are so,
So-
good at football, right? They
Exactly.
put futsal in like
I would say
these
it's
tiny
like
cages.
If I get you to turn up to the court and just do suicides, versus I get you playing
Fuck
conditioning.
that.
Yeah, exactly. So if I get you right, today's
So they
training
trick you into doing it.
Yeah.
Through
is
small-sided
conditioning.
games.
Purely the ball. Overloads 3v2. We're going
so
three-
much more stimulating as well.
Yeah.
You got something to chase.
Yeah.
So I always say, and I used to be the one where now we're just running, until I realized, hold on, I get better buy-in if I include the ball.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where would the average guy like find a lot of this information? Like, there's so much online, and you just go, God, like, is there a place online where you can go, I'm going to use this to build a session or to build a plan? Like,
Yeah.
because from
But there's a
my
lot of-
experience, what I've seen at like
Yeah.
a community level, it's really, really, really bad.
Yeah, no, I'm struggling right now to think because most people will just message me, but
I know, like,
so where
If you don't live and breathe it, and you're just a dad
Yes.
just trying to do the best, it's like I don't know
You can't just Google and go.
No,
the first thing that
we're
pops
all
up.
into it,
No.
right?
Yeah.
So we get it. It's easy for us to put a session together.
100%, and sometimes I say go to YouTube.
Yeah,
YouTube and type in like under 16 football conditioning drills.
Yep.
And don't, like you say, don't take the first one. Have a look at who's doing it, why they're
Look for
doing
some
it.
common themes. yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Look for common themes. Like watch about 10 videos and you'll be able to create a 10-minute drill. Yeah, it may take you half an hour to get your 10-minute drill, but you've got something with substance.
Yep.
Because they've done it and you can see what it's doing. And then you can now then manipulate what you do from there. But yeah, that's how I would do it. Like I don't have somewhere that I go.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's just using YouTube for
Yeah.
your average dad or mom that needs to find out.
Yeah.
yeah.
Even TikTok potentially, right?
Oh my goodness! No.
No, I don't have TikTok. I'm just.
You know, it's fun. Like you could learn some cool stuff, right?
Yeah, but you can learn a lot of wrong things too.
Oh, you can learn a whole lot of bullshit that cowboys into. Yeah, so many cowboys. Oh my goodness, from
Yeah.
Instagram, TikTok, everywhere.
Yeah.
But
Everybody's an expert on
oh,
TikTok.
everyone's
yeah.
an expert.
Yeah.
Like everyone's an expert now, and you know sometimes I'd say something and kids would be like, "Oh, but I saw it on TikTok." I'm like, "Who's this TikTok person?" And I show them. I'm like, "Oh my goodness,
No clue.
no clue." Just read something and just vomited it out.
Yeah.
You know, for the sake of doing something.
Yeah.
And it's it does my head in, man.
Yeah.
Does my head in, and I'm not someone to shoot someone down unless it's really bad. I'll call you out.
Yeah.
But I'm just like, okay, let me try and figure out why they're saying what they're saying. But yeah, there's a lot of things out there. We just have to have patience
Yeah.
to sift through it, because you know we're in the Siri generation. Siri, do this for me and it gets done. So people's attention span is 15 seconds.
Yeah.
They can only do that. But if you want something of substance, you're gonna have to put in the work.
You could do like a S&C Leon Norton kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like you see how he reviews like these articles
Yeah.
on nutrition and just completely
Oh
disses
man,
them.
he absolutely breaks it.
Yeah.
I love that. It's so
I love
entertaining.
it.
So good.
Yeah.
So you've now moved to Australia.
Yep, I'm in Sydney now. I've moved.
Yeah.
I'm just about 10 days. Still working with the All Whites because we qualified for the Men's FIFA World Cup next year.
That's huge in the US, Mexico,
Yeah,
Canada.
and in Canada. So I'll work with them from sort of here, travel on tours, etc. And you know, funny enough, we use Musashi. This is so buzzy. When I was walking through the door, and I'm like, Vitaco. I've seen those invoices come through. I've seen those invoices. So yeah.
Well,
so
the soccer was also used Musashi.
yeah. So now I'm used to using Musashi and the boys. It's a chocolate. The chocolate way. Chocolate way. Here we go. Free advertising. Chocolate way. Unbelievable.
You're on our podcast.
That's all we talk about.
That's what we talk about.
So are you, while you're here in Australia now, are you looking to start to work with some professional teams here, or are you just you've got your log of teams and athletes?
Nah,
and
so
your-
what I'll do is, of course, on online side, I'll take care of All Whites. I'll travel with them.
Yep.
But yeah, I'm looking to get into with athletes.
Yep.
Start what I did in NZ. I'm ready to start that in Sydney. So yeah, whatever athletes are out there, I'm ready to jump in and see where I can help them and what my 2 cents can sort of stimulate. So yeah, so
What's the best way, like while we're on this subject, what is the best way for people to track you down? Like how do we...
Instagram.
Instagram
is the easiest.
And what's your Instagram handle?
Coach_Suns.
Yep.
Easiest way. Get me there. Send me a DM.
Yeah.
And I'll answer it. So
Filter through all your other... Oh, no, you're a taken man, aren't
I'm
you?
a taken man. You know, those thoughts go in the
Those days
the
are behind.
request.
Yeah.
They go in the request.
Yeah.
They go there, but I'm ready.
Are you like reaching out actively to
I
clubs and teams?
haven't reached out to
You haven't
anyone.
thought
I
about
did
it yet?
make a comment to Rob Whittaker.
Yep.
I'm in Sydney now, so if you need my 2 cents, I'm here.
We'll
we might
We'll
know
speak
someone
to
who
Rob.
knows you.
But you got quite the resume already. Like, you know, for anybody that's looking for the elite coach, right? You got
Give us your resume. Just-
yeah. Oh yeah.
So
Let's hear it.
Izzy, you know, we went 12 from 12 in the middleweight.
Yeah.
5 defenses at middleweight.
Yeah.
Kai Kara France, Sonny Bill, Quade Cooper, Jodie Taylor from the Lionesses in England, New Zealand Touch, All Whites, some of the Black Ferns, Sevens girls.
How big is your
ANZ.
team? How many teams? How many
So,
people do you have with you?
People?
Yeah.
I don't count numbers. I'm out of here.
No, as far as like helping you. How do you
Stop.
work
me.
with all these? It's
Me.
just you.
Just one
It's
man.
just me.
How do you, mate? You must not
That's nuts,
sleep.
dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yes,
That's a pretty big list. Plus
Yeah.
2 Olympics.
Oh, yes, that's right. I think
I
for
forgot.
me.
I forgot about the Olympics. that little event we call the Olympics. Yeah, I forgot about that.
Massive goal for me. So I've been to
Wow.
Tokyo and Paris Olympics,
far out.
under 20 FIFA World Cup.
Yep.
So pretty
Damn.
pretty big.
That's
like
pretty-
I forget some of the people.
Damn,
and
put
they
some
message
respect
me
on their
when they-
name.
Yeah, when they listen to the podcast, you go, you didn't mention my name.
You didn't make
I
a
go,
comment.
shit, I forgot about it. You know, it's like it's so many, but I'm just grateful they trust me.
Yeah.
You know, they trust me. So, yeah, I'm glad I got all those different bodies from different sporting codes that I got so much knowledge that now I can go and apply it.
Yeah.
So,
Do you gravitate yourself to any particular sports? Like I know you've mentioned football
Yeah.
and martial arts.
yeah.
Are those the two that you gravitate
Yeah, so
towards?
I love football.
Yeah.
And then your combat athletes, and then, of course, rugby league, rugby union
Yeah.
is like those sort of top tier sport is my thing.
Yeah.
Uh,
Well, we work with a lot of sort of rugby league teams
Yeah.
and well across all sports really.
Yeah.
But yeah, look, I think you'd have some success here locally with a lot of those professional teams.
Yeah, so yeah, that's
from
like
what
I
I've
say,
seen.
that's my goal. I
Yeah.
got 7 years for the next 2032. The Olympics is in Australia,
Mhm.
so I want to try and crack a team for that.
Yeah.
So switch Alliance to the
No.
Green Road.
Yeah.
No,
You
these
could
guys
get-
always
you
make
could
fun of
get
me
a Hal
for
out of-
switching lines.
he comes to work most weeks, most Mondays in moon boots. So you could,
Yeah, we got to figure out what the hell's going on there.
Yeah,
Slides on today.
yeah, he's struggling as a larger man.
So now, so
Yeah,
no, that's it.
far
Yeah,
out.
I've been
It's a bit of a new
privileged.
chapter for you here in Australia.
Yeah, I like the challenge. Like most
Yeah.
people, are like, wait, you just qualified. I qualified for the World Cup on that Monday night, and then I flew out the Monday night following. So like 5 days later, I flew out with 3 suitcases.
Wow.
Yeah.
Just packed it and flew out. And everyone's like, wait, what? You just gave up everything?
So what about like all equipment and all that stuff? Like, did you have a
Most of my stuff are still back home.
Yeah.
Most of my stuff are back home. I said, well, it depends where I go.
Yeah.
If I'm just going to go to a local gym and just, start my PT sort of S&C with athletes in a gym,
Yeah.
then I'll probably have to look at bringing my stuff in.
Yep.
But if I go to a team, pro team, they're going to have everything. So I won't really need much. So
Yeah.
it's just lying at the parents' place now. So
Yep.
I don't need to bring anything right
Yep.
now.
Yeah. Nice.
So yeah, that's it. Yeah, just looking to get going,
yeah.
take on athletes slowly, one at a time. I'm still doing heavy online
Yes.
because everyone's in NZ now, so they're like, "Oh, can we still train with you?" I'm like, "Yeah." Okay.
And because you are so high level, can like a Greg from Division 2, can he still work with someone like you online? Or?
I have high school kids
Yeah.
working with me. I have Division 1 players working
Yeah.
with me. Everyone's working with me. As much as I take care and I like my top athletes, I have probably like a 50% split of the Gregs
Yeah.
down there. Like they keep that excitement, but then the excitement is seeing how much I can move Greg, move his dial,
Oh yeah.
and change but his mindset.
Yeah.
about
Quite often
training.
you can move those guys.
Oh, big time.
Such
Yeah.
a bigger.
Massive
Yeah.
change.
Those 3
Where-
days a week, 40 minminutes, times 3 a week, that can
Yeah.
Yeah.
take you to like
And
another
the thing
planet,
is,
right?
all it is just structuring their week. Because right now, I don't think a lot of people that are not in pro teams or high level teams don't have real structure. They'll do something for 1 week, they'll change it the next week, but it's just getting them to stick to a structure.
Consistency.
I think that's paramount for everyone. It's having that structure, knowing when to train what at what
Yeah.
times and how long for, and
100%. 100%.
And you can't expect to know all that.
No,
like,
no,
Like
I
you've spent a lifetime
right.
researching this.
I don't blame
No.
people for not knowing.
No.
There's, like I say, there's so much information they don't know where to go.
Yep.
I don't blame young S&Cs or trainers because they're still trying to figure stuff out. And you should figure stuff out.
Yeah.
Make the mistakes.
Yep.
Who do you blame?
You.
Uh,
I think. Yeah.
Social media.
Yeah.
TikTok.
Yeah.
we have a decent library of content for people that have no clue as well.
Yeah.
Like we provide training programs off season, pre-season, during season
Yeah.
across all 5 of our key sports.
very, very kind of like beginner entry level kind of
Yeah.
stuff. though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
For
some of them
people
are, like that would work all the way through to high level, but it's in a nice little format, easy to read. And I think just having something as a
Yes.
starting point, try that, and then you sort
Nah,
of
100%.
But
And
I
you said
recommend
it.
get experts as soon as you can, so that you don't spend years doing the wrong thing.
You know what you just said about the lower level or the younger people. Like my structure sometimes for your Sonny Bull will be the same for Greg.
Yeah,
It's just the weight you're lifting is different.
that's it. Yeah.
The number of times I might be able to get you to start training you different because training age. But guess what? You're doing the same exercises,
Same movements on the
same
field.
movements on the field.
Yeah.
You're doing everything the same.
Yeah.
All I'm doing is just being that GPS and going turn left, turn right. Oh, the road's closed there. Don't go down that way. I'm pretty much just like when you go 10-pin bowling, you put up the rails.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just want you to go that way. I can help you. So I'm just there to like guide you.
Yeah.
I like
Good
it.
way to put it.
Yeah, if you go on TikTok, you're gonna get some gutter balls. You know.
Yeah, I like that. If you go to TikTok, you're gonna get a gutter ball.
Says the bowling ball. Oh, guys, awesome. I think that's pretty much close to time.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for coming
Yeah.
on.
No,
Yeah,
I
appreciate it.
Yeah,
I've actually
this
learned
was
a
like
lot
our
from
best
talking to
episode
you.
ever, maybe.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
we'll get you on a lot more frequently.
Yeah,
and
nice.
yeah, I think a lot of people
I'm
can
around
learn.
the corner. I'm
Yeah.
5.3 kilometers from here.
Oh wow, that's exactly
That's
yeah.
ideal. Yeah.
I hit the GPS. I'm like, from the corner.
You can run that in.
No, it's been awesome. I've
No,
loved having you on. It's
no, I
really
appreciate it.
intriguing, and
Appreciate
I just love your passion.
Yeah.
you can feel it, and
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of trainers out there that just do it and treat it like a job. But
Yeah.
when you're
No,
as
I
passionate
say-
as you are, you get the job done
It's
a lot better than
contagious.
others.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I always say. It's like, when I first started, I know we almost run out of time here, but I took a National League team, which is so NPL 1, right, in New Zealand, and they had no money.
Yeah.
So I'd drive from where I live up north in Auckland to Hamilton was 3 hours, 15 minutes drive. So I'd drive there 4 times a week and back. So that's 6.5 hours, 4 times a week. I'm
Jesus.
driving for $0. They said they got no money.
Wow.
And I was like, okay, let me think about it. And I drove back from Hamilton FMG Stadium where the Chiefs play, the Super Rugby.
Yeah.
I drove back. I was like, phoned the guy. I was like, yeah, I'll help you. Because I could see he was passionate, but he didn't have that help. And he wanted to pay me, but he couldn't. So I did it, and they finished highest they've ever finished in the NPL ever. 4th equal, but they only didn't make playoffs because of goal difference.
Right.
I've never done it, but we purely just did the basics.
That
Yeah.
improves
But
huge.
and that's the passion. Like, I was so passionate about helping people
Yep.
because I never had help when I put up my hand. I was just going off what my father was telling me, and he could have gone to Olympics, etc. But that's another conversation about apartheid and being non-white and not being able to go. So we never had that help.
Yep.
So my goal was to be like, I want to help as many people as I can, so when I leave, my job is done. Like,
Yeah.
you succeeded. Like, I get a big kick about when I see people happy. Like, you don't have to pay me. Like, I'll tell you a quick story. Kai Kara France, when
Yeah.
he first started with me, he could only afford to pay me $20 a week.
Yep.
Really?
He came from Thailand, and he goes, I gave him a price, and he goes, oh, I literally can't afford that. Like, I just moved back. I'm just starting the UFC. And I was like, if you can give me $20, give me. If you can't, don't worry about it. I trained Israel Adesanya for 5 years with no money. He
Really?
couldn't afford it.
Wow.
Yeah.
So I wasn't
Good investment,
taking all these. Yeah, I wasn't taking people only based on because they could pay me. Some people say I'm stupid, but
Well, you're learning a lot
Worked out
about
well.
your craft as well.
Right.
You're getting something back from it
I was
too,
getting
right?
it. And I
So-
understand people need to eat and they can't go and train everyone for free.
Yeah.
I had people that were paying me, but I could see like a little sons in them, like, fuck, help me, man.
Yeah.
Like, someone help me.
Yeah.
And I was like, so that was like one of my side quests is
You-
to help as many people as I can.
You wait till you get all the DMs now for free training.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nah, I'll send them to TikTok or to DJ.
I think you're well beyond not getting paid now, but
Yeah.
but that
Commendable.
enthusiasm
Yeah.
and that passion in the
No,
beginning
and,
is
and that's my reps in my tank,
Yeah.
In the early
That's
days, I
right.
had to do that.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I had to.
Everyone has to, mate. Well, I've enjoyed having you here.
Nah, it's a
100%,
pleasure.
yeah.
Thanks for
Appreciate
having
it.
me on.
We'll get you
Coach
on again
Sam.
soon.
Yeah.
Boom.
Awesome.
Until next episode,
Masashi
Masashi out.
Masashi out.
So, yeah.